Hello everyone, my name is Hillya Turrahmah from the Department of Sociology at Andalas University. Here, I will present my essay on the economic crisis as the main factor triggering domestic violence and divorce among the lower middle class. Based on a report by the Central Statistic Agency, the number of divorce cases in Indonesia in 2023 was recorded at more than 465,000 cases handled by the Indonesian Religious Court, and most of them were caused by economic problems and financial pressures. The National Commission on Violence Against Women also stated that the majority of domestic violence cases were caused by financial difficulties or pressure, especially in low-income families. This data shows that the economy greatly affects relationships within households, especially for the lower middle class. An economic crisis occurs when the economic conditions of an individual or family are disrupted or unstable, making it impossible to meet their daily economic needs. When an economic crisis occurs, it causes disharmony in the household, stress due to economic pressure, and vulnerability of women to domestic violence. The economic crisis has caused disharmony in households due to economic instability, insufficient income, and unmet needs, resulting in arguments and affecting the way husbands treat their wives. For example, an Instagram post, and one I've also seen in my own community, shows that husbands with good economic conditions tend to be more attentive to their wives, while husbands with unstable economic conditions are less attentive and often argue. This proves that the economic crisis affects attitudes within households. According to Kabalmai, 2015, economic pressure can trigger emotions, arguments, violence, and even divorce. Thus, the economic crisis plays a role in triggering conflict and household harmony. An economic crisis has the potential to cause stress within households due to numerous economic pressure, such as difficulties in meeting basic needs, paying debts or bills, and unexpected expenses, which can trigger anxiety or worry that ultimately affects the psychological well-being of the family. According to Wulandari et al., 2025, family economic pressures are a trigger for stress, anxiety, and depression and can affect family relationships as a whole. The economic crisis also makes women vulnerable to violence, as many women are unemployed and dependent on their husband's income. When economic pressures or financial difficulties arise, this can trigger abusive behavior such as limiting spending money, withholding financial support, and physical violence in the form of hitting or injuring by the husband. Some people argue that some families experiencing economic crisis are able to survive and even become more harmonious despite the economic pressure. They believe that economic is not the most important thing, but rather feeling of openness, mutual respect, and love. But in reality, in this era where everything is expensive and must be paid for, love alone is not enough to build a harmonious household. Feelings of mutual care and respect will fade when an economic crisis strikes. Everything in this world requires money. Because nothing is free these days, Even using a public restroom requires payment. The economy has a significant impact on a person's household. In conclusion, the economic crisis has triggered an increase in domestic violence and divorce among the lower middle class. Therefore, further efforts are needed to improve the economic welfare on the community, enforce laws against domestic violence, strengthen mental health, and instill moral values in families. That concludes my essay presentation. In this ever-evolving world, it is important for us to be open to different points of view and engage in healthy discussion. I hope my arguments have provided a clearer understanding and will enable us to take better steps in the future. Thank you, and I'm sorry for any mistakes.